Hey, what's up, fellow readers? Today I'm coming at you with 10 middle grade books that I think you should read. If you don't know, I am an educator. I plan on teaching upper elementary or middle school, so I do a ton of middle grade reading. These books are perfect for middle-aged kiddos, so like 4th to 8th grade. You know, if you have a kid in your life that likes to read, maybe they'll like these books, or if you just want to read a middle grade book, I think they're awesome. Also, if you're an educator, these might be super helpful to you. A lot of these books incorporate diversity, which I think is really important for middle schoolers, especially kids at that age. They don't really realize why people are different, but they definitely notice when people are different. So I think it's important to bring up those topics. So a lot of these books do incorporate race, disabilities, learning differences, different socioeconomic classes, things like that. If you haven't read middle grade books before, they are really, really interesting because they always have a really good message, just because they're for such young readers. So it usually has a good message and it's a quick read. So even if you're like an adult in a reading slump, you should try a middle grade book. Maybe it'll get you out of it. If you're new here, my name is Megan and this is Booking It. The first middle grade recommendation I have is called A Night Divided. This book is about a girl named Gerda, and she is actually in Berlin when the Berlin Wall is built. She and her mother are on one side, and her father and brother are on the other side. So throughout the book, she's trying to communicate with them through the wall, but there are obviously sergeants and things in the way that keep her from trying to communicate with her family. This is a historical fiction book. It's really, really good. And honestly, it doesn't even feel like historical fiction. It's super good. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it so much, so I hope you like it too. For once in my life, I don't have caffeine. I have water. So, sips water, I guess. The next book I have is a graphic novel. It is called New Kid by Jerry Craft. This has won a few awards. It's won the Newbery Award and the Coretta Scott King Award. So, it's pretty good. Like I said, it's a graphic novel. It has a ton of pictures in it. This book is about a 7th grader named Jordan Banks. He wants to go to art school, but his parents end up sending him to a private school. The only problem is he's one of the only kids of color in his grade. So Jordan finds out how school life is with a bunch of kids that are not like him. This book really takes into account race and just how kids are trying to fit into middle school, but with also race involved. It's really, really good. My only complaint about it is that it's very flat out race, like in your face sort of thing. It definitely has to be read by someone who's ready to take on a topic like race. I wouldn't give this to like super young readers because it might just go over their head. Other than that, it's a really quick read because it's a graphic novel and I really recommend it. I interrupt this video to show you guys something that I just got in the mail from Etsy. It is a bookish item and it's gonna change your life. It's a book sleeve. First of all, can we look how beautiful this is? And it has a zipper, so you just like slide your book in, and it's supposed to not get like scratched and stuff as bad because it has this to protect it. I'm super excited about it because like I take a backpack to school every day, and when I bring my book, I'm always afraid about like bending the cover. So I got this on Etsy. I'm going to put the link in the description box down below because I think that you should get it if you have the same problem that I do. You should really get it. It's also super soft and you can like pick your color. Not sponsored, but like, I love it. Book number 3 is Ghost by Jason Reynolds. This is actually a book in a series. This is the first book. This book is about a boy named Castle. He has ran his whole life, but he has never ran for a track team. So he decides to join a track team when he actually challenges a kid to run against him and he wins. So when he joins the track team, he meets all kinds of friends. Jason Reynolds does an awesome job of incorporating race and hard topics into books for middle schoolers without being so flat out in your face like, this is racist. You know what I mean? He really incorporates race. He incorporates diversity and different like socioeconomic statuses. His entire series, I recommend even for adults. It's really, really good. It will really make you think about the differences in kids at this age that we don't often notice, but that they're trying to work through. These are really good, and it just shows you that, everyone has a story and that we can't judge them. So, Ghost by Jason Reynolds, I really recommend it. This next book is called Fish in a Tree by Lynda Mullaly Hunt. I have talked about this book before on my channel, but I think it's important for everyone to read, but especially educators and middle-aged children. This book is about Allie, who has been passed along her entire life, and she cannot read. So she has always been passed along, and she has hid the idea that she can't read because she decides to act out in class, so all of the teachers just think that she's a troublemaker because teachers never really got to know her. This book will change your life for the better. It is so good, and it just makes you think, again, everyone has a story and everyone has things they're struggling with. So in this book, Allie actually meets a teacher that changes her life, and he is able to help her in ways that she has never been helped before because he sees past the issues and he actually sees the child. So this is a really good book. You should read it. Book number 5 is Front Desk by Kelly Yang. This book also incorporates a ton of diversity. It is about Mia, who is 10 years old, and she actually helps run a motel with her parents. The problem is that her parents are immigrants, so the owner of the hotel thinks that he can get away with paying them very minuscule amounts. So I can't remember exactly, but I think he pays them 10 cents an hour to run this hotel. They run the whole thing, and he pays them 10 cents an hour. So she gets the courage to try to stand up to him, and that is what this book is about. It's really, really good. It will really make you think about the problems that we have here in the US that we might not see. If there's a middle grade reader in your life, you should recommend this to them, or just read it yourself. It's a really quick read, and it's really, really good. The next book, book number 6, is Circus Mirandas by Cassie Beasley. I have talked about this one before. I really like it. I read it for my 4th to 8th grade literature class, and couldn't put it down. It is about Micah, who is talking to his grandfather when his grandfather mentions a magical Circus Mirandas. Micah is entranced by this idea, but he is not allowed to go because of his guardians at home. When his grandfather slowly starts to die, Micah decides that he wants to try to travel to Circus Mirandas to see if he can save his grandfather. So that is what this book is about. It's really fun, it's an adventure, it's fantasy, it's magic. Everything that middle grade readers love, this book has it. Moving right along. The next book is The Benefits of Being an Octopus by Braden. This book made me cry. And no, not a lot of books make me cry, so when I say that, believe it. It made me cry. This is about a girl named Zoe, and she helps her mom out a lot because she is a single mom. So she helps raise her younger siblings. She has 2 of them. Her mom is renting from this really mean guy that takes advantage of her, and Zoe wants to help her out. Zoe doesn't know how. So Zoe always says that, she wishes she was an octopus because they have 8 arms and they can do so many things at once, because she's trying to balance so much on her plate as a 7th grader that she feels like she's drowning, basically. When Zoe's at school one day, one of her teachers invites her to join a debate club. It's not an option. She has to join. So she joins, and it's going to teach her different ways to have courage to stand up for what she believes in. This is really good. Honestly, I'm probably going to reread it soon. You should read it. We are getting close to the end. The next book is The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. This book is so fun, and it gets a lot of kids into fantasy, actually. So if you have a kid that you're trying to get into fantasy, or a kid that just likes fantasy, you should recommend them this book. It is about a girl named Luna. She lives with a witch, so she also has a bunch of different magical creatures that are around her all the time. But she lives with a witch, and she is accidentally given magical powers. So she has to try to figure out how to deal with those while living with a witch. And it's just really good. It's very poetic. It's very, heartwarming. And I really like this book. This is a really good introduction into fantasy for kids that want to try it out. The next book I have to recommend is Stargirl by Jerry Spinelli. If you are a grown adult and you have not read this book, pause the video right here and go read it. Seriously, stop where you are, go get the book. You need to read it. This is one of my favorite middle grade books because it has such a great lesson that middle schoolers need to hear, which is be unapologetically yourself. Stargirl is a 10th grader who is just starting at a public high school. She's been homeschooled all her life, and she's just born to stand out. She plays the ukulele, she sings happy birthday to people. She wears whatever she wants. She is who she is. And this throws off everything at this public high school. They do not like that Stargirl stands out because, you know, high school is so stick to the status quo. High School Musical reference. And nobody wants to stand out. So when Stargirl comes, everyone's like, don't talk to Stargirl. She's super weird. So she is going to try to change that. This is such a good book. I just recently reread it, and it's 5 out of 5 stars every time. Again, if you haven't read it, like, go read it. I don't know why you're still here. Go read it. The last and final book you guys have probably already heard of, but it is The City of Ember. This book is a middle grade dystopian book, and it is about Lena and Dune, who are 2 middle-aged children that live in the City of Ember, which is basically a place that is designed for them not to get out of because they are supposed to survive there forever. But lately in Ember, the lights are starting to go out and the power is being taken from Ember. So they find these pieces of ancient parchment while they're like exploring one day, and they start to think that there is a way out of Ember. This is the first book in, I think, a 4-book series, but it's really good, and it's just like a fun read. It doesn't have any like big giant lessons in it, which is why I put it last, but it's just a really fun read for kids who maybe like dystopian or fantasy and they just want to try out something new. That is all I have for today. Those are 10 middle grade books that I loved. If you like this, leave a comment down below because I could talk about middle grade books all day. I read so many of them. But for now, we will just start with 10. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!